With the Allscripts Practice Financial Platform, our mission is to design and deliver innovative tools used by medical practices and billing service providers to optimize revenue and streamline administrative tasks that enable independence while enhancing patient interaction. I am Todd Riendo, a Senior Solutions Manager for Allscripts PM, and today we will be sharing an important component to our guided scheduling solution known as your Operational Readiness Analysis. As the landscape of healthcare continues to dramatically change, organizations have had to think differently about patient engagement before and after care is administered. With many organizations having to adapt to the changes in the way that they treat patients, including telehealth, while staying ahead of the regulatory changes and billing requirements for these visits, they have had to additionally rethink how patients are scheduled to make sure that their physicians are the right kind of busy. A recent statistic released by MGMA stated that 76% of medical practices report making operational changes this year due to staff shortages. Entry-level positions are impacted the most, while adding the extra challenge of onboarding new staff to quickly get brought up to speed to fill the void caused by these shortages. The need for intelligent tools, especially at the front of your revenue cycle, is pivotal to maximizing efficiency while minimizing the downstream financial impacts caused by labor shortages as patient intake volumes remain on the rise. Schedules need to be flexible enough to ensure that time slots are available for patients who need care the most so that they don't go elsewhere for care, but be intuitive enough for newly onboarded staff to place patients in slots that meet the goals of your practice. Our Operational Readiness Analysis provides organizations the ability to meet these challenges head-on, while using predictive analytics and unparalleled intel to fuel your implementation of our guided scheduling feature, which is completely embedded within the Allscripts Practice Management solution. The Operational Readiness Analysis offers practices unique insights by helping organizations identify scheduling gaps, develop a plan to address these problem areas, and then operationalize a plan to address these inefficiencies that can lead to gaps in care and have negative impact to your bottom line. The content that we're going to review today is an abbreviated version of our full analysis. The full analysis contains about 40 key metrics. Let's learn more about the analysis. Every analysis starts with 12 to 24 months of your practice's data. Think of the data as starting from the second that the patient requests the appointment. We then slice and dice that data. Metrics vary from how long are patients waiting to receive care. What trends are we seeing around your no-shows, cancellations, and last-minute reschedules? How well are your resources being utilized? Where are the majority of your referrals coming from? And which ones represent the highest average revenue? We're also going to identify actual demand of when patients schedule appointments and how to better align those with your provider's schedule templates. The first analysis takes a look at how far in advance are patients scheduling an appointment. The graph at the top takes a look at the practice as a whole and says, okay, 4.4% of the appointments are scheduled the same day, and 4.8% of the appointments are scheduled the day before. If we take a more granular look, we can see that on average, new patient appointments are waiting an average of 15 days to receive care. When we talked to this practice, they were certain that new patients were receiving appointments the same day or next day. They have appointments that are receiving the same day, next day for new visits, but on average, those new patient appointments were waiting 15 days. This can be impactful to a practice because if a patient has to wait too long for care, they may choose to receive it elsewhere. Our Operational Readiness Analysis takes this data and chooses how to optimize visits based on the practice's goals. Let's make sure that the patients who need care the most receive priority appointments. We also analyze how far in advance appointments change. In our world, we define change as a cancellation, a reschedule, and of course, a no-show. A rescheduled appointment can be as bad as a no-show if it's happening at the last minute. You might not have the demand to backfill that appointment availability. In this analysis, we can see that 37% of the appointments change the day of or the day before. That's significant. We're also analyzing what are the reasons for change. Are your doctors changing your appointments often because they're rearranging their schedules? Or do you have a lot of cancellations from your patient population? In addition, we will evaluate what time of day are we seeing trends around those changes. We'll provide this information to you at a practice level, and also per provider that holds a schedule. In this example, we can see that the 9 to 10 o'clock time is the time where the most patients have changed their appointments. Based on this information, we might choose to make different decisions about how appointments are scheduled. Now let's take it to the next level by blending appointment data with billing data. Let's take a look at the CPTs that were used most often, and then what was the variant between what was the lowest reimbursing insurance carrier to the highest. In this example, an arthrocentesis was performed 3,300 times with a variant of reimbursement from $183 to $807. This practice also performed a shoulder scope 154 times, and that ranging reimbursement was between $1,200 and $4,300. Again, I'll ask, why does this matter? It matters because remember, this is the same practice whose new patients were waiting 15 days on average to receive an appointment. If we prioritize patients who need care the most and have a higher likelihood of surgical conversion and take advantage of your ancillaries, as well as promoting payers at the highest end of reimbursement, think about the incremental revenue increase that your practice can make just by identifying the goals of the practice and providing that information to the schedulers at the point of scheduling. The same data is used to compare physicians' performance against one another. This metric takes a look at a 5-minute scheduled block. What was the actual allowed, and how was the provider paid for the block of time? And then, how does their performance compare to their peers? We can see in this example that one of the providers received $1.3 million in actual allowed. They worked 28,000 blocks of time. Their peer received an actual allowed of $1.4 million, but they worked 1,000 fewer blocks of time. By using the operational readiness analysis with guided scheduling, we can take this classic bell curve and move providers over the median level of efficiency by prioritizing patients who need care the most. There is an art to the uniqueness of provider schedules. In this metric, we're looking per provider, per day of the week, and how many of each appointment type were actually scheduled. So, how many new, how many established, how many injections? Whatever appointment types you use in your current practice environment, we'll provide the analysis. How can we use this data to make a difference? Well, let's compare the actual demand to the templates that are in place. If the data tells us that the provider has never seen more than 5 new patients in a day, and they have 10 new patient appointment slots on their template, it's likely that some of those new patient slots are being used to see established patients. With the analysis, we can drive template changes based on true data elements versus emotion and/or feelings. Lastly, we're going to use this data to show what the incremental revenue increase might look like for your practice based upon your data. For example, if this organization prioritized care for patients who need it the most, brought their providers to the median level of efficiency, and better managed their referrals, there is a significant opportunity for incremental revenue increase, making sure that all patients have appointments while meeting the goals of your organization. Scheduling is difficult, whether you're balancing the many demands of your personal schedules at home or busy provider schedules within your organization. Modern-day consumers must rely on current and accurate data to drive decisions that yield positive results. Our guided scheduling ops readiness analysis helps to streamline and shine a light on the many complexities that reside behind the scenes within your provider schedules to drive change with predictive analytics, thus ensuring resources, both front desk and clinical staff, are the right kind of busy. At Allscripts, we're building automation and intuitive design into every release. Connect with us today to find out how it's possible for your practice to optimize busy provider schedules while keeping organizations profitable and efficient using our guided scheduling ops readiness analysis.